Hello, Albuquerque.
In those days, it was 41, so there was a lot of racism.
I'm a Boeing 737 first officer.
I did a lot of research and I recommend everyone do the same.
And now suddenly you're addicted, literally to heroin.
Where were you born? I was born in Cambridge, England.
Both my parents were drug addicts.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. Thank you for joining us today. As always, we've got another special guest. We've got Alex Cogburn in the house today. Alex, welcome to the studio, man. Thanks for coming.
What's up?
And we've also got Chase Lejeune back in the house again to join us for a conversation today. What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going. Thank you for coming, too.
Yeah, no worries.
I appreciate both of you guys coming today.
Well, we're going to try to make sure it's all about Alex today.
That's right. That's what it's all about.
You don't have any extraordinary stories to share?
Oh, I've already done an episode.
Yeah, he's done one. We've got another one in the works. So yeah,
Cool.
So Alex, let's. I always start these things by talking about how I know people, and I know both of you guys because you're both my coworkers. You are our replacement engineer at the power plant.
That is correct.
You're a fucking intelligent guy who is always busy doing all the things.
I don't know if intelligence is the right word. It's not about how smart you are, it's how smart you sound when you say things.
There you go. And you got some big shoes to fill in that regard.
Yeah, just ask your predecessor. He'll tell you all about how... We all know those stories.
We could go all day on that
That's going to be another podcast, actually.
Yep,
so we'll
right.
just not talk about that right now.
Are you going to have him on the podcast? Because I feel like that could be a good one.
Yeah, he actually wants to do the podcast at some point, but, it's still in the works. But yes, yeah.
You got to make his about how he won the stock market.
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil too much, man. Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
He's a really good guy at heart, and he's got an incredible story. Another podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
So, Alex, tell me, I want to start with your childhood. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Maine on an island.
Maine, wow.
Georgetown Island.
Cool.
Yeah, it's technically an island, but there's a bridge to get to it. And
Okay.
It's big, but very small town.
Okay.
It's like 500 people in the wintertime, and
what was that like?
it's just like growing up in the woods.
Yeah,
Nearest neighbors, half a mile away, that kind of thing.
that's awesome.
Yep. No kids to play with.
Oh, that's not awesome. So, okay, on that note, I have a question because I grew up in a small town in northern New Mexico. Well, I mean, I didn't grow up there, but for the majority of my childhood was spent in this small town. And I think because of that, I grew to have a greater appreciation and a desire to live in a bigger city where there's more options, more people, more things to do. Is that something that you feel, or is that different for you?
I think it's different for me because I kind of went off on my own. I went to college and then moved straight to Denver. That's kind of one of the bigger cities that a person can move to. So I've had a good taste of both, and I like the secluded.
You like the secluded?
Yep, having land.
Yeah. Okay.
Where you can do stuff and neighbors can't complain about it.
That's fair.
That sort of thing.
That's fair. Camp, what about you? What's your opinion on the two?
Well, I grew up in a small town as well. And Albuquerque's probably about as big a city as I'd ever be okay living in. I'm very much like Alex. I like having my space, and I like... Not that neighbors are a bad thing, but all these cookie cutter homes that we have in these cities, especially in larger cities like Denver,
sure.
They have all the same
subdivisions are all exactly the same. Yeah,
where you could reach out and poke your neighbor from your window and everything like that.
Well, from my current situation, I have a pretty nice lot. Definitely not a cookie cutter house, and I feel like if you can find something like this even in a super crowded and populated place, then I think that kind of helps with the seclusion.
I mean, I think it's nice to have all the amenities of a city.
Yes.
And you're getting towards the outskirts here.
Yeah.
But as far as cities go, like I feel once you get to the size of Albuquerque, like a city is a city is a city.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, I don't know. Put me in Tokyo, man. LA, Mexico City, I don't give a shit. The more the merrier.
Yeah, sure.
Jeez, man,
but also you kind of get lost in the crowd, I think, in a place like that. It's also nice to have that small town aspect where you know your neighbors, you know the people across town and whatnot, because, it's more community based, I guess.
Yep.
So that is nice. But even in my little neighborhood here, I know all my neighbors were all, we all watch out for each other and share vegetables from the gardens and stuff like that. So that's cool. I don't know. I appreciate the city boy life. I'm definitely all for it.
I mean, I get the same thing in White Rock. I just have to drive for 45 minutes if I want to go to Walmart. That's the difference.
That's what I'm talking about. I got a 5-minute drive to Walmart. I'm good. and Amazon,
Right.
Can't lose with that. All right, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the elephant on your leg. For the audio listener, Alex here has a prosthetic leg. Your left leg is absent.
Amputated below the knee, yeah. It's definitely the most interesting thing about me. It's probably the only reason people think I'm cool.
No, I highly doubt that. I very seriously doubt that. But please, let's hear the story of how this became.
All right, just go back to the very beginning. So, grew up in the country, and I always liked engines and building go-karts.
Awesome.
Make wooden go-karts to roll down hills out of
man.
wood.
Yeah, that's cool.
I tricked a farmer up the road to letting me take away a broken down lawn tractor.
Wicked.
Nice.
And got it up and running and took the mower deck off and flipped some pulleys around so the thing would do 20 miles an hour. And
That's awesome.
I put a big air horn on the hood of it.
Pew, pew, pew. That was a perfect opportunity, but I don't want to blow your ears out.
I painted it orange with racing stripes, kind of like the General Lee almost.
There you
That's
go.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I always liked driving stuff, and we never had a lot of money, but when I was 13 or 14, I was able to con my way into a couple of four-wheelers. Like, the guy who lived up the road had a stepson who had a four-wheeler, but he was in college, so they let me keep it at my house, and I'd mess with it sometimes. And a guy who lived up in the city had a four-wheeler, but no place to put it, so he put it down at my house. So I had these four-wheelers to race around on.
Awesome.
Oddly enough, the guy whose stepson gave me the four-wheeler is now my stepfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
That's like being your own grandpa. That's what the hell, dude. That's weird.
My dad had like two main friends.
Okay.
He had a friend named Jerry and a guy named Mike.
Okay.
And when I was 13, they all split up, and Jerry ended up with my mom. Mike ended up with Jerry's wife,
Holy shit.
and my dad and Mike's wife never really got along, because that's where the triangle stopped. Yeah, it was like all of a sudden they just...
If that is
They
not
turned
small
one.
town community, if I've ever heard of it, holy crap.
You're definitely not lying there, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a hold of these four-wheelers, and we lived out in the country with a lot of dirt roads, and so me and a friend of mine one day, we were zipping around and trying to have little drag races, and actually at one point in the day, I had my helmet off, and I was racing around, and from where my dad's house was, there's a long, steep hill that goes down to the water, and I raced up and down that hill a couple times without a helmet on. Going way too fast for a road that cars drive on. But anyway, later on in the day, I put my helmet back on, and I did the same thing. Went down to the water. My dad was actually getting in a dinghy to go up the cove to a marina, so I saw him, turned around, and I raced back up that hill as fast as humanly possible. And this was a Suzuki 230 racing four-wheeler, fully standard.
Geez, dude.
Yeah, just throwing gears with a clutch and everything.
That's wild.
So, and that hill, by the way, was the only part of the road that was paved. So it was fun to get some grip and just take off up this hill. And it's a steep hill. And it comes up to the top, and it crests and goes around a corner. And it's a blind corner because there's a big boulder. There's ledge on that side of the road.
Okay.
So I come around that corner, and there's a 1992 Volkswagen Cabriolet Spider coming the other way at me. And I remember seeing it and trying to turn to get out of the way, but obviously I just kind of skidded sideways. So it was left leg against the front of the bumper.
Ooh.
Yep. And next thing I know, I'm 25, 30 feet or so behind the car, and I sit up and I'm like, holy shit, I'm okay. I'm good.
Hey, he put his
I'm
helmet on
fine.
that time. So.
Yeah, and I had my helmet on. Yeah. I still have the helmet. I'll get into that later.
There you go.
Yeah, so I sit up and I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm looking at my hands, then I look down, and it's just a mangled leg. Like everything from here, like 6 inches below my knee, down to just above my ankle is meat, and it's all turned around, and my toes are up here by my kneecap.
Oh my god! Oh, holy crap! I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, that was.
There was a little bit of skin and one nerve holding the whole thing from
Fuck.
being separated. And that was messed up because even though it was gushing blood and, everything was hanging out, I could still wiggle my toes.
Oh, dang.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Jeez.
Oh my god. You're like, I've never seen him from this angle before. Oh, what is that?
Well, I was thinking I could still move my toes. That's a good sign. That's what I was thinking.
It doesn't matter, right? Their location is irrelevant.
You got that scene in Kill Bill. Just move the toe.
So I straightened out what was left of my leg.
Oh,
and
God.
The guy in the car was actually my neighbor. He's an Egyptian guy named Fada Azam. So I started yelling at him to go to my dad's house because we were right next to the house by that point, to grab the phone and call an ambulance. And
Sure.
my friend who was on the other four-wheeler, luckily he was behind me. I was telling him to go get my dad because we had just seen him. He actually didn't see him. I had to explain to him eventually that he was just getting on the boat back where we came from. Go back that way. So Fada tried to tie a tourniquet, and he couldn't quite get it done. I eventually just kind of shooed him away. And he did give me the piece of rope, so I tied a piece of rope around my calf and just tried to hold the two pieces together.
Oh my god.
And
You're a gangster little 13-year-old, dude. Man. What the shit? I'd have just been screaming, help me!
well, there was a fair bit of screaming there, especially when I was sitting there by myself. I was just screaming anything that I could. Sitting in a lot of blood.
What, let me stop you there for a second.
Sure.
What was that feeling like? What was running through your head?
You think it's a dream and you're going to wake up.
And you're conscious of everything that's happening at this point.
Yes.
And you just taking it all in and just screaming because you don't know what's the outcome, or
You're thinking it's one of the dreams that you've had and you're going to wake up at any time.
Oh my
'cause
God.
It's
that's awful.
yeah. And the blood was kind of, because I lost about half my blood sitting there on the ground.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
It's not like it is in the movies. As soon as the blood puddles up like that, it gets thick real fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like
dude.
the consistency of dried up ketchup.
Yeah, it's like syrupy.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
there wasn't
gross.
anything above your knee that was leaking blood. It was just below your knee.
No, the entire thing, I had a bruise on this fingernail
Wow.
and the leg, and that was it. No other
Wow.
injuries. Actually, the fibula, the small bone in your leg, had a crack in it up near the top. They missed it on the x-rays because there were so many other breaks.
Was it just pure adrenaline keeping you up at that time?
I mean, it must have been.
Yeah, it had to be.
So I guess it's your main artery that runs through your leg that was dumping all your blood out.
Yeah, and luckily it stopped pretty quickly.
Really?
Holding the leg together, and then after my dad got there, he wrapped a T-shirt around the whole thing.
Okay.
So the blood loss stopped pretty quickly.
And what was the time frame from the minute he left till your dad got there?
Not very long.
Wow.
Jake, he was the friend. He didn't get on the four-wheeler again for obvious reasons, so he ran back down the hill.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah. Found my dad. He was just pulling off the dock as Jake got there.
Wow.
And my dad got back in his Saab 900 and came up the hill real fast.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was able to stop. But I remember hearing the engine just whee!
Aren't those turbo?
Yes, yeah, 900 turbo. Yeah.
Yep, my dad had one too. 88.
He had his until recently. I just sold it for him last year.
Those things are tanks.
Yep. He's a Saab guy for whatever reason.
Saab owners tend to be Saab owners for life. It's weird, but
Saab's
to each their own.
Just like those Subaru guys.
Yeah.
Honda, Toyota, all those
All of
weirdos.
them, Yep.
He was big into MGs.
Okay.
Tells a story all the time about how he had 3.5 MGAs, or the little Spitfire MGs. He had 3.5 of them at one point.
A half?
Yeah, half of he had a parts car, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Fiats. He had 2 Fiat Spiders.
That's weird.
5 or 6 years. Yeah, so he got there, and at that point I was like, well, I'm not worried anymore. Somebody else is here. I'm good.
I'm just gonna put all this worry on you.
Yep.
It's out of my court now.
I'm just gonna lay back. I'm cool.
Take care of it. Yeah. But that time between must have felt like an eternity, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of looking back on it, it didn't feel like it was all that long, but I'm sure in the moment it felt like a real long time.
Like realistically, time frame, what was it?
Like 5-10 minutes, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so not
fast.
that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was just until my dad could get from the bottom of the hill up to me. So I couldn't really tell you how long it took the ambulance to get there.
So you guys still waited for an ambulance?
Oh yeah, we got the ambulance.
Yeah, they were on
there.
an island, so they.
Yeah. And the ambulance, of course, was driven by another one of my neighbors.
Oh my God.
Yeah, staffed by a woman I'd known my entire life, Rosemary.
Damn.
Yeah, small town.
Well,
Yep.
at least you know you're going to get the care that you deserve.
Right.
People are like, I know this kid.
Yeah. All kinds of neighbors start showing up, to try and help.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Dave Cogburn, he was the driver of the ambulance, but he's sitting there with me as they're getting out of the backboard and all kinds of stuff, and he starts asking, "Is that his bone?"
Oh God.
And he's pointing a little further down the road, and
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
and I sat up, and there was a piece of my tibia, the big bone, about 4 or 5 inches long, sitting on the side of the road with some blood on it.
Oh God, how does that even happen?
Well, it was a pretty gnarly accident, I guess.
Clearly, yeah.
And I had the presence of mind to poke my head up and say, "Yep, I recognize that thing anywhere."
Yep, Yep.
That's me right there. Anybody else lose a bone? I don't think so.
You see that mark on the side? I did that when I was like 6. I know I would know that tibia anywhere.
Right. Well, if I do have a regret over the whole thing, I wish I would have had the presence of mind to ask if I could keep like a pinky toe or something like that. Put in a necklace or something.
Oh my God. Dude, okay, totally off topic, but I heard this podcast this one time. This guy had to have his foot amputated, and him and his friend had been toying around for years. Well, a group of friends had been toying around for years with the idea of cannibalism and what it was like to experience that. So he asked if they could take a sliver of his foot home, and they let him, and they fried it up and ate it.
That's messed up.
Alrighty then.
They said it was disgusting.
I'm sure that it was.
The long pink, right? Yep.
Gross.
So they went through all that, and then they spread the story around?
Yeah, on a podcast, as a matter of fact. Very interesting.
No. But a couple pinky toe bones or something in a necklace, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Or that tibia, man. What the hell? Just
Yeah, the whole thing, just in a big jar.
Yeah, would have completed the Road Warrior look.
just put that on the necklace.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I was sitting on the ground. I knew they weren't going to be able to save the foot. Maybe I didn't say it right away, but it's like there's no coming back from that.
That's fucking wild. And what was that realization like? What did you feel in that moment, knowing that they're not going to be able to save that? What did like you see a future that was shitty and like you lost opportunities, or
That came a little bit later.
Oh, wow.
So I'll get to that.
Okay.
But after people are there to help you, you're like, well, this is happening now, and I'm just along for the ride.
Sure.
What good does worrying do you?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yep.
You're beyond that stage.
Yes. Yeah. I did tell the paramedic Rosemary, who I'd known my entire life, that, well, I guess this means they won't let me in the military anymore. Which is for sure true.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because when I first met you, I thought, when I'd heard that you lost your leg, I don't even think I'd heard it from you, but I thought that
That's
was the
exactly
case.
where my head went too.
I
This guy
get
got
that
his
a
leg
lot.
blown
Yeah.
off in the
Yeah.
military.
Yeah.
He's a gangster.
Yeah. Not to say that I respect you any less, but I just gained an immediate amount of respect for you.
Same.
Yeah, I get that one a lot. I guess I have that look about me a little bit. Maybe it's the haircut. I
That
don't
could
know,
be
but
it. That could be it.
a lot of people see it. They're just like, "Thank you for your service." And I was like,
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I just engineer stuff, but sure, yeah.
not a hero. I was an idiot of a teenager, but it didn't stop recruiters from calling
Oh,
when I
there you
turned
go.
18. But they did stop after my stepdad was like, "Yeah, he wants to join, but he's only got one foot."
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
I go, I guess that will be a problem. Yeah.
Just a bit.
Okay, Okay, so you're in the ambulance at this point.
Yep, in the ambulance. They took me to Maine Med, which is like an hour and a half drive from where I was
my
at.
God,
It felt like I got there in like 10 seconds. They wanted to life flight, but the helicopter was busy apparently with somebody else, so I got ambulance all the way to Portland.
Holy crap.
My mother was at a catering event in Bangor, like 3.5 hours away. For some reason, they didn't let my dad in the ambulance with me. So I get to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, we got to amputate your foot.
Oh, fuck.
My dad, who only got a cell phone like 2 years ago, obviously I couldn't call him. So they asked for my mother's phone number, and I gave it to them. So they called my mother, who's 4 hours away, and asked her for permission to amputate my foot.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine getting that phone call?
Right. That's
Hello?
probably the worst part
we
of it.
need to go ahead and get your permission to cut your son's foot off. Is that okay? What the fuck? What are you headhunters? What's going on? Like, what did you do? How much does he owe you? Fuck!
You're not going to take the arm too? Just the leg?
Is this Vegas? I mean, I heard arm and a leg. I've never heard just the leg.
So my dad eventually did get to the hospital, and he's the one that told me they were going to amputate my leg.
Fuck.
And the next thing I remember is waking up like around 1 o'clock in the morning, and my mom was there, and I told her they were going to cut my foot off, and they had already cut my foot off.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was her reaction when you finally came to and saw her?
I mean, she had already been at the hospital for I don't know how many hours, so she was just there trying to comfort me. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody was upset at you about this?
No. I mean, I'm sure they were, but they weren't showing it to me.
That's good. That's a good support system.
Had he kept the leg, it might have been a different story.
You dumbass.
Well, so the four-wheeler, how did it fare in the wreck? And
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not bad, actually. One of the rear axles was bent.
okay.
But
Bike didn't even lose an axle?
no, sure didn't.
Did the neighbor that was loaning it to you have anything to say after everything?
That was actually the friend's four-wheeler from uptown.
Okay.
And he never asked me to pay him back or anything like that. He sold the four-wheeler.
Nice.
I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
There's a leg attached to it somewhere. I don't want nothing to do with that.
There's some bone chips in the seat or something. It's yours.
Most of the bone chips were in the front grill of the car.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, fuck.
Tell us about that. I think you were mentioning at one point that the person still had the car. Or
Yeah, he had it for a long time. So a friend of my dad's who was around, his name was Garrett, and he ended up using a hose to spray the bumper out and all kinds of stuff.
Hey, there's some Alex over there.
Yeah, he still talks about it to this day. This is a pretty wild experience for everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Memorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruined my whole day, I'll tell you that.
I bet. Yeah, it's not every day you get up in the morning and you're like, I think I'll lose a foot today.
Yeah.
No kidding.
How do you prepare for that? I mean,
Clearly.
yeah.
Well, and it was lucky that I had the helmet on, so I smashed in the whole front end of the car.
Oh, wow.
And then my head and my shoulder hit the windshield, and the A-frame of the
fuck.
windshield was flattened down against the door.
Holy
Dang.
shit, dude.
And I guess luckily it was a convertible because I ended up going over the car rather than being in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, he fixed the car and continued driving it for like 10 or more years afterwards.
Wow.
And you'd see it driving around. I lost my leg against that car.
That motherfucker.
Oh, it was a Cabrio? No, it was that
It was
car.
that specific
specific one.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long was your hospital stay? You're in the hospital at this point. Your mom, you're just waking up. What's going on from there?
I was in the hospital for a month, so I wake up the next day basically, and can't move around very much. It was a couple of days before I could stand up. And you were asking about the mental state.
Yes.
And you have all kinds of crazy thoughts going through your head. Beyond I'm never going to have a girlfriend because I only have one foot. And
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
I had it in my head that other amputees wouldn't accept me because I didn't lose enough of my foot.
Oh, my God.
Wow, okay.
That was a real thought that was going through my head.
You are just a negative Nancy, aren't you? Well, holy shit, dude. You're like, I'm not cool enough to be part of the amputee club.
I can't hang out with them, and now they won't accept me either.
I didn't get my leg shot off or anything, so nobody's going to like me.
Well, it's probably the blood loss that was making all that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Cut to now, I belong to a couple of Facebook groups for amputees.
No shit.
Not that I'm active or anything, but I like seeing what's on there.
Yeah,
once in a while.
totally.
People be like, "Oh, my life hasn't been the same since I lost my 2 toes." Bitch, please. You're lucky we even let you in here.
Hold my fucking beer.
So he went from thinking he wasn't going to get into the club
Yeah, to being a total amputee snob.
Fucking leader of the club. You're just jealous because you're not the leader of the amputee club.
Another funny thing, my dad cut his thumb off on a table saw,
Oh, shit.
right at the knuckle there. And
That's interesting.
So-
my dad did his, what is this, ring finger on his right hand on a planer. Planed it off.
that'd be gnarly.
Yeah.
But the joke is that I have to be the best at everything. So I'm a better amputee than he is.
Oh, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
How do you live that one down, man?
His is actually kind of fun, though, because he can take his thumb and put it up against his nose like this and make it look like he has his whole thumb in his
The
nose.
whole thing in there, yeah.
Party tricks. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I can't do that with mine. I can do other things, but not that one. So it was like 3 or 4 days, and they actually sent me home for like 2 days, and then I had to come back in for a checkup, and all the skin that they tried to stretch over it because there was so much skin trauma, the skin was dying, so they had to go in for a skin graft,
Damn.
and then I ended up being there for about a total of 30 days.
Dang.
And I was actually kind of messed up because I'm getting ready for a skin graft, and they were saying, usually this is more painful than the amputation.
Oh, God.
Why the hell are you telling me that?
Why? Okay. What's the pain level like now that you mentioned that? What are you feeling in the first few days that you're awake?
It was kind of like a throbby pain mostly.
Okay. Like a headache in your leg?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everybody talks about phantom pain.
Yeah.
And my experience with phantom pain is kind of like somebody taking a needle and poking you.
Okay.
Like
I can relate to that. I have that in my mouth.
it's at like a rhythm. So like stab.
Fuck off. I don't have it in my mouth for any fucking porno reasons, dick.
Hey, this is a family-friendly show, right?
Not anymore. I got my wisdom teeth removed. Long story short, they said that these 2 teeth were messed up, so there was a chance of nerve damage. This one was normal. They took this one out. It fucking made half my tongue numb for life. So
Oh shit.
the right hand side of my lower part of my mouth and my tongue is numb.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But I feel tingling a lot. So like if they poke at it and when I'm at the dentist for checkups and whatnot, and they poke at my jaw, like I can feel a shooting pain that feels like a bunch of needles. It's fucking weird.
Well,
But anyway,
how was you're trying to get around the hospital? You only have the one leg at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Prosthetics, even today, are still kind of like not the greatest, right?
They're pretty good.
Okay, well then they've come a long way.
They have come a long way.
haven't you heard about poor little Ting Ting?
Well, so were you getting around the hospital in a wheelchair?
Yep.
And how long did it take to go from wheelchair to being able to walk again?
Well, hold on. We're jumping
we'll
way
get to
too
that.
far
We'll get
ahead.
to that.
You're doing what I do, bro. You need to calm down. let's get there first.
There's a whole gambit of stuff to get through in the
Oh,
hospital.
okay.
Yeah, we don't want to skip any of it.
Including a pretty interesting story. So, and this is just the beginning of it. And this was before they sent me home. I'm walking around, crutching around the hospital wing, Barbara Bush Children's Wing in Maine Medical Center. And they wanted me to do a lap around just to be up and vertical. And this little girl was sliding around on her hands. There was something wrong with her legs, but I couldn't tell what it was at that time.
Shit.
So she was pushing herself around like she was running and playing, basically. And she was just happy to be alive. And she's 3 or 4 years old.
Dude, I bet you that puts shit in perspective real quick.
She came right up to me and was like, "Oh my God, what happened to your leg?"
You're like, your body doesn't work.
Exactly. And it turns out that this little girl is actually famous. She was on the Oprah Winfrey show. They called her Mermaid Girl.
Oh. Okay.
She was born with a birth defect where both of her legs were fused together like a mermaid.
What? Oh my
with
God!
all the blood
so many
vessels
questions.
and everything. And I didn't realize who she was at the time, but that's what changed my perspective. And I was like, I'm going to be fine.
That is fucking wild.
They went the hospital makes a psychologist or somebody come talk to you about how you're doing. And I was telling them, I'm good. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go home and they're going to get me a new leg at some point, and it's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
And
Damn, that's crazy.
And he was an older hippie dude, like long gray beard and dreadlocks.
Sure.
And he looks at my parents and says, "Well, when he's done putting on the tough guy act, you can call me." It's like, listen, motherfucker, it ain't no act.
I just saw a girl with half a body. Yeah. I'm gonna be great.
Yeah. So skin graft, everything. I get home. The whole leg is in a cast because they don't want your tendons to shrink up. And they make you hold it out straight because if you end up sitting like this all day long, the tendons will get so tight you can't straighten them out again.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that happened to a certain extent, and it took a lot of physical therapy to get to straighten it out again.
Damn.
So
That's crazy because Ronnie's episode 4, taking it way back, Ronnie was talking about at the end of the episode he cut his arm when he was a little kid and they put it in a cast like this for the same reason, but you would think that straight would be the way to keep it, but they kept it like this while it healed.
yeah, he must have cut his tendon or something like that, so they wanted to keep it together.
Yeah, that's wild.
And stop it from breaking apart.
Crazy. Okay, proceed.
Yeah, so I guess it probably took, I want to say 9 months. So the whole accident happened on July 3rd in 2005. It was the summer before I went to high school.
Oh no,
Dude, what the shit? Your timing is awful, bro.
going from top of the food chain to fresh meat, man.
Spring of sophomore year, I was starting defenseman on the lacrosse team.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
So a little over a year, and I was able to
He was
sprint
already-
and play contact sports.
Yeah,
Wow,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of iterations of legs. I went through a bunch of them in the first 4 years. I ended up having to get 2 revision surgeries because I was still growing. So my foot was trying to grow back and just couldn't figure out which direction to grow in.
Holy
It
shit.
ended up growing these big bone spurs. Like the end of the bone looked like an eagle claw or
Oh
something
my
like that.
god.
So I had to go back in and cut those off.
Oh, fuck.
Which was a setback, but not too bad. And by the time I graduated high school, I was totally normal. Didn't affect me much at all.
Wow, dude.
Nice.
What out of this whole experience, what was the most painful part?
Skin graft.
Yeah?
So,
So the
I
doctor
don't.
didn't lie.
Well, it's not so much the graft part where they grafted it on, because that really doesn't have any feeling anymore, and that's the end of the stump, basically. And I hate that word. They all call it a stump, and I'm not sure why. It just makes it weird to say.
You're a tree, bro. Just like Groot. Groot Cogburn.
There you go.
There is a bar in Farmington that had a yellow sign on the wall that said no stumps, and I was like, that was funny.
You're like, fuck!
Damn, man.
That's the only place I've ever been.
In Farmington, New Mexico, of all places.
Right.
You
Dang.
can't discriminate on me, you bastards.
So yeah, I'm in high school. I'm about to graduate, and they asked me to write the commencement speech for graduation.
Wow.
And Mermaid Girl was the story that sort of came to my mind.
Absolutely.
And my mom told me that she thought she had seen her on Oprah. And I found clips of her on Oprah, and I
Wow.
went through Oprah's message boards, I think, to try and figure out who she was or how to get in contact with her. And, this was 5 years later. And it turned out as soon as I got in touch with her family, was about a week after she passed away from pneumonia.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, that was a bummer, but big time. I wrote my speech about her story and my story, basically, and
That's awesome.
Yeah.
they say I brought down the house at graduation, but who knows? I tried to get in touch again like 4 years later, and her mom had passed away by that
Oh my
point.
God.
Her dad was trying to write a book about her, and I wrote a foreword to his book. I don't think he ever published it, but yeah, her name was Shiloh Pepin, the mermaid girl.
I am absolutely going to Google the shit out of her because I have so many fucking questions. That's wild.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Siamese twin thing almost. They couldn't separate her legs because all the blood vessels
Everything
were
was
intertwined.
together, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that was...
Well, how does that work for her, like, reproductively, to use the bathroom? Like, how, that's...
Well, it was. I don't know how
Was
far
it-
down was it. I guess we don't really need to.
I only met her the one time.
I'm
I
going
don't
to
know all
Google
the
it.
details.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah.
I'm too curious.
Yeah.
How was sports with the one leg and the prosthetic? How did, because lacrosse is a very
If you ask an Olympic committee, they'll say he has an unfair advantage.
yeah.
It's true.
Well, there's a lot of that going around. We don't have to get into that topic right now.
No,
But
but I'm talking about the Pastorius.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name? The poor little Ting Ting.
yeah,
They're absolutely right. He has an unfair advantage to compete against able-bodied people when they make your legs into springs. It's for sure an unfair
Oh,
advantage.
you're on that side of the aisle.
Absolutely.
well, he's got half of the experience. So,
Yep.
You're only half.
but no, like honestly, lacrosse is a pretty
That's fucking
intensive
intense, dude.
sport. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
that's
very
way intense.
like not a lot of people know this, but it's a very contact heavy sport.
Yeah, it's hockey on a field.
Yeah, and
Bro,
you're
I saw-
With the ball in the air.
My first and only experience with lacrosse was I saw it at work on the computer, and I didn't know what the fuck sport they were playing. I was like, "What the fuck is that? Why are they all huddling around?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah,
This is a messed up football game."
They get aggressive, man, and so yeah, I mean, like, tell us about that because you had half of your balance system gone there for a game that requires you to be upright and
Yeah,
I was badass at it, so
not to toot my own horn.
it was my sophomore year, the first year that I was able to play, and I took the senior captain's spot on defense.
Oh, nice!
Damn.
Wow, in your sophomore year.
Yeah, I was the center defenseman because I was the only person that could stop the ball from getting to the goal. And
Wow.
defenses
Rock.
are the ones with the long stick. I don't know if you've ever seen a
Yeah.
game before, but
Yeah.
I like to, get the ball and then try and run the whole length of the field and score. So I remember scrimmaging in the town that I went to high school in. There's like a prep school, which is mostly for rich, druggy kids.
Okay.
But they were good at sports because they could recruit people, and we scrimmaged them in a gymnasium. And I just kept getting the ball by my goal and running past everybody and trying to score on the other goal. And their coach is like, "What the hell is happening?"
That guy doesn't have a leg. What are you guys doing?
Well, when a defenseman, to try and cross midfield, he has to get one of the midfielders to stay back. So I'd yell "Mitty back" to get one of them to stop for
Yeah.
me. So I'd get the ball by my goal and just yell "Mitty back," and they'd know that I'm going to the goal,
All the way. Dang.
and nobody could stop me.
So, real quick, I gotta pause because I'm a fucking idiot and I was just describing rugby instead of lacrosse. Now that you said the sticks, I was like, oh, yeah, wrong sport. Okay.
Yes, yeah, lacrosse.
Yeah.
But rugby is also a very, very.
Rugby is fucking gangster. I thought that's what he was playing. I was like, bro, you're a beast.
I mean, lacrosse is kind of the same, except you have a stick in your hand.
Oh, yeah, that makes it so much more sense.
Lacrosse is rugby, but they give you a weapon, man.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ball goes a lot faster and
Oh,
hits a
yeah.
lot harder.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the the bludgeoners in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Bludgeoners. Got a lot of Harry Potter fans that are mad at you right now.
Oh well.
The beaters hit the bludgers around.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, look at this guy. What a fucking upstanding citizen.
I've got the audiobooks. That's
Good man. Okay, so fuck you. That's a lot of accomplishments, dude. For being legless.
Yeah.
are partially legless. That's fucking wild.
Got like a leg and a half, you know?
A leg and a half up on people.
Yeah.
Like 1 3/5 maybe.
There you go. There you go.
On a positive note, you could stand next to a car without your prosthetic and lean on that bitch and look like you're standing straight up.
Oh man, it's
Put your nub on the bumper and you're straight up.
my mom drives me to high school on the first day, right? And I'm a little out of it, and I get out of the car, and I forgot that I only had 1 foot, and I swear to God that happened.
Holy shit, dude.
But then it ended up working out really well because I got my license, early junior year, and I was able to park in the handicap spot right in front of the front doors.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, like we had an assistant principal who was hardcore against people skipping school, but I missed a lot of school for, if my leg wasn't working well, I'd go home and I parked right out front, so I could skip school anytime I wanted to. I just walk out the front door, high five the assistant principal on the way out. Like, peace.
So not only the advantage in sports, but also in education.
Bro, I think the key to life is cutting off a leg.
Cutting off a leg? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not that bad.
I mean, you've got a lot of advantages, it seems.
Well, we not to go off on a tangent, but we have another coworker that I'm constantly ragging because he takes the handicap spot, the one handicap spot outside of our office, and Alex tells him it's all fine because Alex doesn't have the pain since the leg's not there. So
He's not handy-capable either, so, there's...
That's not really how it works, but he does seem to move around with a fair bit of pain.
I know, yeah.
I would rather walk from the lower 40 than make him do it. So
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just a nice guy.
You're very
Yes,
nice.
you absolutely are. Taking the high road without a leg.
Where was I? Yeah, I was in high school.
High school, you did lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move it on to college. I want to know, was engineering always something you were interested in? I mean, obviously, if you're building engines and shit when you're a kid, it seems like that might be playing into it a little bit. But what made you take that route?
I actually went to Maine Maritime Academy, and I was going to be a deck officer.
Oh,
So I was looking for a captain's license for shipping.
Wow.
And I changed majors for a couple of reasons. For one, the Coast Guard wouldn't tell me outright if I would be eligible for a license or not.
Well, that's a bummer.
They were certainly turning people down for being colorblind, and in some cases, I think even people who were obese were getting turned down for a license.
Sure.
So they basically told me I could go through my 4 years of school, and then I could take an agility test, and that would tell me whether or not I get a license.
Here, go ahead and dump all your money into this school program, and you might make it. I don't know. We'll see.
And especially for being a deck officer, that doesn't really translate to shoreside very well.
Yeah.
And also, to be an officer, you had to wear a uniform, be in the regiment, go to muster every morning at 6 a.m. and march and, do like the whole paramilitary thing. And
Good Lord.
yeah, and I wasn't real great at that. So I switched majors to engineering and got out of the regiment. And
Okay.
I did a shoreside engineering program. And that was pretty much it. I was on the sailing team for a minute, and the coach of the sailing team was a Paralympic sailor. He was an amputee above the knee, and I can't remember if he had a gold medal in the Paralympics.
Oh, nice.
For
Wow.
sailing a 2.4 meter, which is like a tiny version of a big sailboat. It's a pretty cool boat.
And that's a lot of work.
It's not as hard as it might seem, the Paralympics, especially for sailing, as it would be for the regular Olympics. And also the whole funding thing isn't quite...
I was just talking about, operating a sailboat on your own.
Fair enough, yeah, that's true. Those boats are all sailed from a cockpit, so everything
okay.
you can do from... You steer with your feet, you can pull halyards with your hands.
Gotcha.
But he hooked me up with the Paralympic sailing team, and I did a couple of races with them while I was in college. So I can say that I am a former professional athlete.
There you go.
Because I sailed with the U.S. sailing team, and
That's
that made
pretty
me
badass.
ineligible for the NCAA sailing. So he got me off the team.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Dang. Let me hook you up, but you can't be on my team anymore.
Well, I was on a team with two guys. One of them was paralyzed from the chest down, and the other one had both of his legs amputated at the hips. And they were both older and wealthy guys because they were able to pay for doing all this sailing stuff. The captain, who was the one who was paralyzed from here down, was an executive of some kind for Marriott Hotels.
Damn.
He got the way that he got because he fell asleep on a motorcycle and ended up going off of a railroad bridge.
Jesus Christ, dude.
The other guy was one of the people in charge of the disability at the Social Security office.
Okay.
And he's got both of his legs amputated at the hip. So, like, try telling that guy that you're disabled. You know what I mean?
I lost my toe. Can I get some disability?
He was hit by a train when he was 6.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So a lot of stories. Those guys. If I could get them here, that'd be good stories.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It was hard to do as a college student who didn't have any money to try and fly to Florida a couple of times a year. And we did a regatta in Miami and one in St. Petersburg, and it was fun hanging out with those guys. Cause, in Paralympic sailing, you get a ranking based on how disabled you are, and your whole boat has to be below a certain score. So
Interesting.
That's so messed up. You're not missing anywhere near enough limbs, man. You guys are way out of... We don't qualify.
There's this continuing pattern of, like, you gotta be cool enough to be part of the club.
You're not fucked up enough. We need more disability in here.
I think I scored as high as you can score without being able-bodied, which is like a 9. And both of those guys were 3s, I think. And there were some people that were 2 and 1 that were paraplegic but had partial uses of their arms. There was one guy that I met, and I think he was from Sweden or Norway, and he had birth defects. His legs were really small, and he had no arms, but he had hands. They were just attached to his shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, no disrespect to him, but watching him eat lunch was incredible.
Yeah.
He would lean over to the table and pick up a can of soda with his hand and tip it up to drink.
Bro, when I worked at Target, there was this customer who would come in quite frequently. And this dude, I ended up going to high school with the guy, but, like, he had developmental problems, too, when he was a kid. And, like, he didn't have his ears. He didn't have, like, his arms were just little nubs at the shoulder with, like, a finger or two. And, man, that guy just, all he wanted to do was work. He asked us if we were hiring at Target over and over. He ended up working there, but, yeah, like, and he was a badass. He's just crazy, super able. Like, it didn't seem like he even knew that he wasn't normal. He just had this whole routine about him, and he just did everything that everybody else did, and he was fine with it.
Yeah.
And he actually became really popular in high school, so, I mean...
That's the way a lot of us permanently handicapped people are. You know? It goes one of two ways.
I think it's really cool.
Did you take home prom king? I gotta ask.
I was not prom king. I didn't even go to prom.
Oh, okay.
Oh, why not?
I guess I was a part of the burnout crowd.
Gotcha.
We never went to...
Fair enough.
You know, I was kind of in both. Like, I could hang out with the smart kids, and I could hang out with the burnouts.
And he was an athlete.
Damn, you were all over the place.
He's a triple threat right there, man.
I bet you the ladies loved young Alex.
Oh, yeah.
I did all right, I think.
Good, man.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
So, Olympics, college. What did you end up studying? You said you did an onshore engineering program.
Power engineering technology. So
Okay.
Engineering technologist.
Translate for the rest of us who don't speak big word.
It's a engineering technology geared for power plants.
Okay.
You know,
One specific area of engineering.
boilers, turbines, generators.
Okay, well that explains exactly my next question, how you ended up in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm sort of set up for that job perfectly, aren't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got to backtrack a little bit though, right? Because you went to college in Maine.
Went to college in Maine.
And so what happened after college that you decided to come out to New Mexico?
Early in my senior year, I got hired with B&W, who is a big name in large steam boilers.
Okay.
It's kind of, they're sort of to boilers what GE is to turbines.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
and I worked for them for 10 years doing field service.
Oh wow.
I covered everything, technically everything Colorado west, including Hawaii and Alaska. I never got the chance to go to Hawaii. I did go to Alaska. And there was, in my office, the least that was ever there was 3, and the most might have been 8 different service engineers to cover all that area.
Oh wow.
I did a lot of coal-fired power plants, natural gas,
Well,
all
not
boilers.
to take it back, but your predecessor did it all, so you know.
Whoa. We'll get to that when it's his time, all right?
I know. Well, we know the inside joke there, so I had to.
And all disciplines.
Right.
All
5.
All
Yeah.
5 of them. Nobody does that, okay? He's basically the Trump of engineering.
He's got
Very
5 disciplines
decent.
and 6 senses.
Yep.
Don't we all?
So after working for them for a while, there was a power plant in Farmington that wanted a resident engineer. They wanted a manufacturer's representative on site full time, and I was the only one dumb enough to say yes. So I ended up living in Farmington for like 3 years.
And that was San Juan, right?
No, that was Four Corners.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I would have loved San Juan. I've worked at both power plants. Okay,
I think Four Corners is still running. San Juan is no longer.
Four Corners is still running, but San Juan was an absolute pleasure to work at. Comparatively.
Gotcha.
Things could get done. It was clean.
Yeah, I knew some of the ice engineers out there at San Juan. It was an interesting place.
And you and I in a previous conversation, you said that our power plant in retrospect is a little micro power plant compared to what you worked at.
Yeah. So Four Corners they call it a donkey boiler. It's really an ox boiler. It's the small boiler that makes enough steam to start the big
one. Wow.
And their donkey boiler is the same size as our big boilers.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, so you mentioned somebody had told you that ours are the biggest in the state.
The biggest that they have seen.
The biggest for residential heating, maybe.
Maybe.
So, from the beginning of our training, we are taught that these are the most dangerous things on the planet, and if something goes wrong, it's detrimental to not only our lives, but everybody's lives in a 50-block radius, and, it's like this is this super crazy thing that doesn't exist anywhere else, and then you come along and you're like, no, this is fine. Let's just eat. Those fuckers blow up, you're gonna get cut. You'll be fine. You get a paper cut. You won't even lose a leg.
I appreciate, I guess, the attempt at trying to keep you guys safe around the equipment.
Yes, absolutely.
But you do know what goes on in the other areas where we work, right?
There's a better way of accomplishing that. You don't have to scare the piss out of people that don't know any better.
It's a good approach, and technically speaking, if somebody really knew what they were doing, you could turn that boiler into a bomb.
But it would have to, I think...
But it's not going to explode. It would only hurt the people who are in the building.
And it would have to be the exact appropriate set of circumstances, and it's more than one scenario that would have to happen simultaneously.
It would have to be deliberate.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You're not going to accidentally blow up the boiler.
And as these things are mostly built in giant brick buildings, it's not going to go, especially the one that we all work around. It's not going to go as big to hit a, what'd you say, 50
block radius.
No way.
Turbines are way more dangerous than boilers are. The steam turbines that we used to operate, I've seen videos of steam turbines that have oversped, and they will come apart. And one particular video I remember, the coupling from turbine to generator snapped off, and it went through a bunch of brick walls and ended up sitting there and spinning and tink, 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 tink on a concrete floor and dug like a 4-foot hole.
Holy shit.
It becomes a giant top at that point.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
So,
I know that it's probably not a great thing to say, but I'm fucking glad that ours are decommissioned, because those things intimidated the shit out of me when I worked there when they still ran those, when I was the oiler wiper, and it was fucking intense when those things were running, bro. It was like the whole building vibrated, and it was just scary to walk by them, and then when they would trip, it was just like, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta get away from here, dude. I don't know what's going on. I didn't understand the entire process, and the amount of steam that they're using is just wild.
Yeah, but I mean, they are tiny compared to normal steam turbines. Those are little guys. So I was trying to draw a comparison from our boilers to what real boilers are.
Yeah.
And ours are 30 feet tall, and real boilers are 200 feet tall. And
Fucking microscopic.
yeah,
Jesus.
you could fit 50 of ours into
That's
inside.
wild.
Well, and we're talking about, power generation for a small campus compared to, transmission level power generation that's supposed to go from
Sure.
state to state.
Yeah.
So,
1,000 megawatts
let's-
compared to a 10 megawatt.
yeah.
Let's just say if I want to continue down this career path, and move to a bigger plant, I'm going to need some training. I'm going to need to learn some things.
Yeah, you would end up being an auxiliary operator, which basically means you go around to equipment and turn valves when they tell you to on the radio, which is not the job that I recommend.
It's not fun. I do that now.
But it's worse in a coal plant when you have to go up and down 10 flights of stairs.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
I bet.
gotta wear a dust mask just to walk around.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So, how many plants have you worked in? How many different plants?
Oh, I don't know. A lot of them.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work in Nevada, Colorado, Nebraska, New Mexico. I've done some stuff on the East Coast.
Arizona?
I've never actually worked at a plant in Arizona.
Okay.
No. Alaska, I did a new boiler startup in Alaska.
Cool.
Uh,
And have you ever run into any kind of dangerous scenario or had any crazy accidents in any of these plants?
Absolutely.
Oh shit!
So I had
Of course you did.
I was working on a supercritical boiler. Supercritical means that the pressure is so high, there's basically no difference between steam and water.
Oh,
They're
wow.
at the same
Oh my
density.
god!
So that's above, I can't remember exactly what the critical point is, around 3,400 and something PSI.
Wow.
So these boilers operate at 3,600. And the economizer stop valve, and this is a very big valve. It's where the feed pumps before it goes into the boiler. So the highest pressure, basically, because it's got to be higher pressure at the beginning. So 4,500 PSI.
Real quick, just for perspective's sake, our boilers operate at 400 and, well, around 400 PSI at best.
Yeah.
So that's cute. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so this economizer stop valve has water spraying out of the packing. And
Ooh.
the plant engineer wanted me to go take a look at it. And I got to the level that it was on and saw how much water was coming out. And I said, I'm not going near that, and nobody else is going near it either.
Put a value on the amount that you saw coming out. Gallons per minute.
Like a garden hose kind of spray. If packing is leaking, it should be trickling out.
Sure.
If it's spraying out, that packing's about to go.
Yeah.
And all these plant guys had already been up there and had their head over the top of the valve looking at it. Like, no. It's like, get away from it.
Yeah.
And don't go near that. And it wasn't more than a couple hours after that packing blew out.
Why did they not stop then?
They should have.
Wow. What the fuck?
It turned out that somebody had done maintenance and they put 2,500 pound packing in a 5,000 pound valve.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'd like to do that.
So if that had let go while their heads were there, they would not have heads anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
No.
4,000 PSI. Dude, that's
That
like...
2,500 and 5,000 though. That sounds like something that would happen where we work.
Yeah. That's all we have on hand. Okay, use it.
Yeah. Just put two of them in there. We're good.
Yeah, see, that's 5,000.
Some other stuff might have been on some of these big boilers, like almost 100 burners, and each one of those burners has an igniter, which
God, dude.
those igniters are like 2 or 3 of our burners put together, right?
Jesus.
And
Burner 67's off. Go light it. Fuck.
well, they can be a pain sometimes, and usually they go off of a row, right? So a pulverizer crushes coal, and that pulverizer feeds 6 burners or 8 burners or something like that. So all 6 or 8 lighters need to be able to light off and be recognized all at the same time.
Okay.
So if one of them is giving you trouble, it's going to keep the whole row out, and it can be a pain, which can tempt plant people to jumper out the flame scanner which is a big problem. 'Cause
Bypassing
that's a lot.
safety things, always
That's-
great.
Well, that's a lot of gas going into the boiler that if for some reason it all goes off at once, that's how you turn a boiler into a bomb.
Yep.
That wouldn't work with our boilers, but
I beg to differ. Boiler 3 was blown out that way. The face of Boiler 3 blew out that way.
that the face of boiler 3?
Yes.
That's the wind box.
The burner side.
Yeah, that's the wind box.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah,
the,
so
the whole wall leading into the boiler blew out and smashed into the power station there.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys were putting in enough gas to go all the way through the boiler, through the FGR fan, and then light off inside the wind box.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess it is possible there. We call that an adverse pressure excursion. That's the technical term. It's the way of saying it blew up without scaring people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or we call it a puff.
A puff.
Or a poof. Yeah, somebody poofed the boiler.
Oh, darn. Sounds cute.
It sounds cute, but that's how you get the point across.
Oh my god, the wall's gone. What happened? Oh, it's just a little poof.
Just a little poof.
That's why. Okay, so tell me about your personal life these days. You're married, you're about to have a kid. What else you got going on?
Yeah, well, so while I was working in Farmington, I had a friend who I worked with, and he ended up coming to work for one of the contractors in town, J.B. Henderson.
Okay.
And he doesn't work there anymore, but his girlfriend broke up with him one day. And I was like, you know what, don't even worry about it. I'll be right there. We'll go out or something. So I came to Los Alamos and hung out for the night and met my wife at the VFW.
Oh, wow.
No shit.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, I think that might be the only time I've been to the VFW.
So
but
your wife is from Los Alamos?
yeah, she
White Rock.
Yeah, she lives here now. She wasn't born and raised or anything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. She actually moved here with her ex-husband, who came to work at the
New
lab.
Mexico, that's all I have to
Yeah.
say.
Well, and it sounds like back in Maine, too. I mean, he was talking about how,
yeah,
There's a lot of triangles going on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Small town.
So, met her, and we sort of just decided we were each other's people.
Perfect.
I wanted to stop working in Farmington anyway, and by that time, my boss let me live wherever I wanted to. So
That's awesome.
I started hanging out with her. Sort of just showed up one day and never left.
Nice.
Nice.
And eventually, it came to the point where I needed to stop traveling, and it's like, what the hell? Well, actually, a construction company that we worked for offered me a job with a big raise, and it was kind of the compromise. Like, well, if you're thinking about taking that job, why don't you apply at the lab too, and see what they'll say. And either way, I got about a 50% raise
Nice.
from where I was working before.
Good.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, because you're downsizing the equipment, but upsizing the pay. That's great.
Absolutely. Not to mention the healthcare. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Well, but to the opposite end of that is you've got several times the responsibility that I'm sure you had over there.
Not immediately.
The workload is got to be significantly higher here.
I mean, doing field service, I did a lot of crawling around on my hands and knees, inspecting boilers, and just getting filthy and long days.
Sorry, let me correct you real quick. Your hand's in nub.
Stump, motherfucker.
Sorry, stand corrected.
Yeah, so a lot of shittier days at my previous job.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it because we like having you, man. You're a welcome improvement.
I appreciate that.
No, definitely. And okay, so real quick.
It just took us a while to get him out of his shell. When he first started working there, he
Oh, absolutely. He was
he'd
way
walk
quiet.
into the plant, and he had his headphones on, and he'd just not saying anything to anybody. He goes
Don't
straight
talk
to
to me,
his desk.
motherfucker. I see that you have all your legs.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk to you. 2 legs? Nope,
You
we're out.
ain't in my club.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Okay, so you do a lot of hobbies at home,
That's right.
which is awesome because you're very much like me in that manner, or I'm very much like you. I just the difference is you finish yours, I don't.
Oh, I quite regularly don't finish.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of those hobbies. You do woodworking and furniture making, and
Yeah,
what
man,
else do you
I just like making stuff. You know
do?
what I
So
mean?
do I.
And I like getting the tools that let me make stuff. So I've
You're speaking my language, bro. And my wife hates that language.
Well, it had been a while since I had a shop, right? So growing up in Maine, my dad built and repaired wooden boats. And
Cool.
So that's where I kind of cut my teeth, so
Sure.
to speak, in woodworking and just building things in general.
You're over here cutting teeth and legs, and you need to stay away from sharp objects.
No, I mean, I think at this point he's just testing it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a jack of all trades in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So after my wife and I got together and I kind of had a stable home base and we had a garage, and it all started with a shopsmith. And I don't know if you know what a shopsmith is. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife of woodworking tools.
Okay.
It's a lathe and a table saw and a bandsaw and a sander and a drill press.
Damn.
All sort of in one.
That's awesome.
So it started with that, and from there I built a workbench out of 2x4s and just started acquiring more tools. And that's what let me build all the furniture for the salon.
Cool.
My wife runs a salon out of the house.
Real quick, plug that before I forget.
Yeah, remedyandgrace.com, hair salon. And
There you go.
She does skincare, infinity jewelry, if anybody knows what that is. It's basically normal jewelry, just gets welded on rather than rather than taking it off.
That's becoming a thing nowadays, though.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Even at the Taylor Swift Eras tours, right? There's a couple different tiers of bracelet that you can buy at the tour that they will weld onto right there.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Well, I had to figure out how to use the welder and then train any of her employees to use it.
Not hurt each other and the people they're putting the bracelet on.
It won't hurt you. It's not a lot of power. It's just a little pen. You put it against a piece of metal, and a little tiny spark. And
Oh, wow.
So it's more like a soldering iron than it sounds like.
it's not really solder. It is welding. It's a tiny TIG welder.
Gotcha.
It's microseconds of electricity, little baby spark, which for welding a dainty little gold ring together is
Sure.
perfect.
Yeah.
So very low risk to anybody's skin
Nice.
or eyes.
So say that website one more time.
remedyandgrace.com.
There you go. Now you've made all the furniture for the salon.
I did, yeah. I did the countertops and all the cabinets and some little end tables and shelves and things like that.
You also do laser stuff and
Yep. So after I got the, sort of the bare essential woodworking tools, I bought a CNC machine.
I'm so jealous.
You can carve out signs and cribbage boards, and you can do some 3D stuff.
I might have some work for you.
This gentleman.
You're a
does-
cribbage player?
I'm a cribbage player. man.
I'm a cribbage guy.
I was born and raised on cribbage. My grandma used to take my pennies from me whenever she'd get double points. Man,
I like cabbage too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, real quick though, while we're talking about that, I think by this point, the time this video is coming out, Alex is going to have created the logo for the podcast, right?
Yeah, well, we're in talks. We'll see. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah,
But yeah, I want something to put on the wall right behind you guys there.
That's one of the other things I dabble in, a little graphic design.
That's
and,
really cool.
Yeah, some stuff like that.
This guy made me and my wife, some 3D printed Harry Potter house
Logos.
emblems, I guess. They're
3D printing is another one. I got a couple.
We're
of
gonna have
3D
to do
printers.
we're gonna have to do a collabo.
Yeah, man. I have a resin printer and a FDM printer.
So do I. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got a dual FDM printer, and I'd like to get a new resin printer that has a larger footprint. I just have one of the small versions.
Oh man, they're
Bro, you don't
wild
even got
nowadays,
feet.
too.
You mean a prosthetic print?
That's right. Yeah. I made a bunch of really cool D&D figures.
Oh, nice! You play D&D?
No, I don't have enough friends to play D&D, but I made cool figures.
You don't have friends to play D&D.
He's a D&D fucking nerd.
Oh my gosh!
I would like to play D&D.
Oh my gosh! So you live in White Rock. I have another buddy that lives in White Rock. We gotta talk, man.
Yeah.
We gotta talk.
Me and the family had a lot of fun painting all the figurines, though.
There you go. There you go.
That was kind of the thing. I had a subscription where you could get a bunch of figurines that all had all the stat blocks and
Oh, that's
all kinds of
cool.
cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Was it one of the ones for the resin printer? I'm assuming. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could print them on FDM, but they're way less cool.
Oh yeah, they don't come out as detailed or anything like
Yeah,
that. But
none at all.
that's really cool to hear, man.
Yeah, so laser engraving, doing tumblers and cool things like that. I had this really cool idea that I thought anyway of taking topographical maps and cutting them all out in different layers with a laser
that would
cutter
be
yeah, that's cool.
and filling in like lakes and stuff with colored epoxy
heck
and
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
then doing that like on the inside of a cribbage board.
Doing that for a D&D campaign map.
Oh yeah, that'd be wicked easy.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting off topic.
I like turtles too.
So the combination of all those things, I was really into making rings for a little while.
Oh,
Nice,
cool.
Nice.
I was able to find a small metal lathe to put in the shop, and
Damn.
Dang, how big is your garage? Do you have all
shit,
these
dude.
tools there?
it's really small. I make an efficient use
You
of
must,
space.
you must not park the cars in there at all.
Bro, he's a fucking engineer.
Oh, no.
I believe this.
Cars are not getting in that garage.
Yeah,
There's not a chance.
You know, that's a commonality in New Mexico too. People's garages are either their storage space, their
Yep.
hobby space, or both.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I got that shopsmith, and then I bought a table saw,
Yeah.
and that was the end of cars going in the garage.
Yeah.
There's no chance anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my wife just gave up on it. She's like, whatever.
Well, you're making the furniture for the salon, so win-win.
Okay, so we're coming towards the end of this time session here. We're gonna have to probably extend this into a second version, which he and I were just talking about earlier.
Volume
but-
2, let's do it.
Volume 2, yeah, we're gonna have to.
in.
But real quick, I always end with, give me your 10-year plan from now. What does your 10-year plan look like?
Oh, God.
You can give me your 5-year. Let's abbreviate it.
Well, my 10-year plan right now is to keep working my way up through the Lannel machine. I think
That's not a bad plan.
we've settled on living here. Some other life changes I'm not going to get into on the podcast. Maybe in volume 2.
I'll edit it. I'll edit what I set out.
Yeah. So still, I'm getting my master's degree, so I'm working my way up. Yeah,
Good.
That's the 10-year plan right
Good.
now.
Glad to hear it.
I think the question that the audience is going to want to know, though, is when are we going to get a shot at that gold medal again?
At the Olympic gold medal?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh man, that's a tough one. You're subject to USADA. I even So I was in summer break. I'm working at a pizza place,
Okay.
but I'm still subject to U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and I'm 20 years old, but still a bad kid, so I'm a little hungover at work. So it's 7 a.m. USADA showed up at my house, and my mom told them where I was, so they came to the restaurant.
Oh, dang.
jeez.
It tried to make me pee in a cup, which would have been fine, except I was dehydrated as hell. So I got this USADA agent standing over my shoulder. I've got my dick in my hand. Like, I'm sorry, man. And whenever this does come out, it's not going to smell good. And the owner of the restaurant, his name's Paul Huss and Fuss, and he talks with a wicked lisp. But he thought it was a probation officer or something like that.
Huss
So-
and Fuzz.
That's his real name, God given.
That is fantastic.
And he's yelling at the guy, I don't friggin' like this one bit. This is my friggin' restaurant. I was like, Paul, thank you for having my back. But they're here for a good reason.
Elmer Fudd.
Yeah. I swear to God. It's a true story.
Oh my god, dude, that's so funny.
So the guy's watching me for a while, and then I can't go, and I go and drink a bunch of water, and I go back. And this is an old restaurant. The bathroom is so small. And like the ceiling comes up this way above the toilet, so you can't even stand up straight.
Can't even look down.
Poor bastard's just looking over my shoulder. And finally, I just squeeze out a little bit of frothy golden goodness. It's like, you guys better go. Yeah, it was rough.
What sort of performance enhancing drugs is someone who is handy capable going to use? Let's be honest. I mean,
I don't know.
Like-
They were barking up the wrong tree with that one. I guess it was all about equality there.
oh, gotcha.
They got to treat us the same as the sprinters.
That's fair.
Why aren't you drug testing us? Huh? I could be cheating.
What if I'm over here doped up?
Yeah.
Yeah, rough
Can't you
one.
see that I don't have a leg?
I can't remember which comedian it was, but one of them was making the joke about, I think it was Robin Williams maybe, but, they were talking about pot as a performance-enhancing drug. They're like, what are you doing? Putting a hamburger or a chocolate bar at the end of the freaking track?
Well, that's like the whole Michael Phelps thing.
Yeah.
You know, he got caught with weed, and they're like,
Yeah.
and he won?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, he's the fastest swimmer to ever live, and he does bong rips.
Yeah. I think, you got your shit way wrong.
You mean this guy is trying to ruin his lung capacity, and he's still winning?
I'm not sure if it says more about swimming or bong rips.
Right?
You know?
There you go.
But poor little Ting Ting with his legs. All right, well, gentlemen, thank you both for being here, and thank you for helping me carry the conversation, Chase. Alex, the stories are fantastic, man, and we're definitely going to do this again. Do you have any other socials that you want to shout out or anything?
No, man, I don't think I've posted on Facebook since like 2015.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you should probably, if you want to, make some shit for people and sell some shit.
Right, yeah, gotta
Let's
get
get
on
you a
that.
website.
There you go.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you on the next one. Everybody like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have questions for either of these gentlemen or myself, please put it in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next one.
And this has been
Another episode of...
Did you forget the name?
No. I was waiting for...
Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories.
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody else to pick that up for me. But...
I didn't know it was like a thing.
No, it wasn't. I'm just trying to figure shit out. This is all blind. We don't...
I literally thought you were drawing a blank.
No.
This has been an episode of...
my podcast. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Just don't air horn me.
Is that a thing that happens?
No, he has a soundboard over there, and I found out the hard way that the air horn is super duper loud.
It's very, very loud. Pew, pew, pew. Oh my God, Andrew.
You don't say 2 or 1.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was going to be hard to talk for that one.
Yeah, man.
It really flies, and especially that's kind of why I wanted Chase to sit in on this, just to test the waters. But I had my wife sit in on one episode too, and yeah, it just shit kind of flows a lot better when you have a few people. But even myself with another person, it goes by quick.
Even Joe Rogan has Jamie to Google stuff, so.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to get somebody to run these boards and shit eventually.
You should make him your assistant, man. Get him like a chauffeur.
There you go.
The problem is our
carry
work
your
schedules
discs
are
for you.
different. So, I schedule a lot of podcasts when I'm off.
Yeah,
that
this
he's
guy
at
has
work, so-
this guy has that crazy schedule where he
Yeah.
gets like 7 days off and
Yeah.
then
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you both for being here, and thank you for helping me carry the conversation, Chase. Alex, stories are fantastic, man, and we're definitely going to do this again. Do you have any other socials that you want to shout out or anything?
No, man, I don't think I've posted on Facebook since like 2015.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you should probably, if you want to, make some shit for people and sell some shit,
Right, yeah.
let's get you a
on
website.
there you go.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you on the next one. Everybody like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have questions for either of these gentlemen or myself, please put it in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next one.
And this has been
Another episode of...
Did you forget the name?
No. I was waiting
Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories.
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody else to pick that up.
I didn't know it was like a thing.
No, it wasn't. I'm just trying to figure shit out. This is all blind. We don't...
I literally
script
thought you were
anything.
drawing a blank.
No.
This has been an episode of...
My podcast. All right, guys. Thanks again.